Let's talk for a moment about stories. Everybody's got one. You've got one, I've got one, and I want to share with you a reality that your story, what I mean by story is the story you're telling yourself about your business may be propelling you to success, and it also may be holding you back. And I want to give you some tips on how to change this. If you find yourself holding back, I can teach you how to change this. So let's start with the propelling. Some of this may sound familiar to many of you. You're succeeding in your business, and you're succeeding in your business because you've told yourself a story that you can. Perhaps you had experience in a different direct sales company. Perhaps you've been an entrepreneur. Perhaps you've succeeded at other things in your life. And you look at this, and you look at the other consultants who are succeeding, and you say, they're no different than me. I can succeed at this too, and I'm going to succeed at this too. I can do this. You tell yourself this. You've got this story. You've got references from other things in your life, other experiences that say, I can do this. And you know what? You likely are. You're likely succeeding because your story is propelling you. Now let's focus on the other side for a second here. This is probably familiar to many of you. I'm going to throw out some thoughts. And think if you've ever told yourself this. How about this? I've never done anything business-wise before. I've always been an employee. Or I've always been a mom. I'm a stay-at-home mom. How can I build a business on the side? Or how about this one? If I build the business, it's going to hurt my family. Or it's going to hurt my marriage. Or how about this one? Those other girls, they have a skill set that I don't have. They can do it. I can't. Or how about this one? I'm shy. I'm just not good with people. You know, I don't speak to people really. It makes me uncomfortable. Or how about this one? I live in a small town. I don't know enough people. My network isn't that big. I just don't know enough people to be successful at this. Or how about this one? I don't have enough ideas to build the business. I could go on and on and on and on. But you know what? Here's the reality. I absolutely guarantee you that there is a superstar director right now who at some point lived in one of those circumstances, but wouldn't allow that as a story to disempower them. They took control of their psychology. And it didn't matter if they didn't have business experience. It didn't matter if they were stay-at-home mom. It didn't matter. They didn't let that story hold them back. The reality is the story that you tell yourself is likely to come true. You could say to yourself, well, I just don't have the experience and I can't do it. Well, you probably won't. You could create another alternative though. You can create a new and empowering alternative. And you can create it to be whatever you want it to be. You can say, I don't have experience, but that girl didn't and she learned and so can I. Or you can say, well, I am a mom, but that girl's a mom too and it's not hurting her family and she's built a business so I can do the same thing. You can create whatever story you want. Let me tell you a little bit about my story. Now, some of the men, hopefully, if you hear this, this may sound familiar. Scentsy's a girl's business. I don't want to be involved in it. It's just not something that a guy would do. Have you ever told yourself that story? How about this one? I heard this one. I hear this one all the time. You went to school for 8 years. You're a professional. Professionals don't do direct sales. So I've got that story coming at me, but then I've got this other story that I'm telling myself saying, yeah, but this is the greatest business in the world. I love this business. I get to work every single day trying to make other people successful. And I get paid really well to do it. And I can work from whenever I want. And I don't have to worry about a lease. And I don't have to worry about staff. And the capital costs are very small. See, I can choose whatever story I want to choose. I can choose the fact that it doesn't matter what I've done in my life. I like this and I want to do this. I can choose that. Or I can choose to follow the other path. The same's true with you. So let me give you some tips. Here's how to change your story. Number one is you need to identify it. If you have a disempowering story, you need to identify it. Write it down. Write down whatever disempowering notion you have. Write it out. Get it out. Get it out. Now, once you've got it out, you got to get disgusted at it. You got to say, you know what? This just isn't me anymore. So, step number two, create a new empowering alternative. If you want a different story, you've got to create the story. So, write it out. Just like step number 1, you wrote out your old story. Number 2, write out the new story. And then number 3, this is the one that takes time. It took time to get your current story to where it is. And it's going to take time to condition a new story. So you got to condition it. Every day you've got to look at this new story. You got to write it out and put it somewhere where you can see it. And every single day say, you read it and you say, this is me. This is the me I choose to be. And condition it and condition. And you know what? You might not believe it at first. When you write down this new empowering story, you might look at it and laugh and say, yeah, right. But trust me on this one. Do it again and again and again. And every single day, tell yourself that's your story. You're going to believe it. Your actions are going to start to manifest. What that story is telling you, your actions are going to start to match that story. Identify, create a new story, and condition it. That's the path, because it's your story that is likely propelling you or holding you back.